News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Biden is back in the U.S. after his trip to the G7 summit in Japan, and his first order of business is meeting with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy to tackle the nation's debt ceiling and avoid default. Correspondent Nancy Cordes is at the White House.
Economists warn that default could put millions of Americans out of work and push the country into a recession. Social Security checks could be delayed, and the nation's credit rating could be lowered.
We're learning more about the last debt crisis. Correspondent Vicki Barker is at the foreign desk.
A BBC investigation alleges that central banks on both sides of the Atlantic intervened to keep interest rates down during the 2008 financial crisis, and that their national regulators knew about it and covered it up.
EU regulators have fined Facebook's parent company $1.3 billion for violating users' privacy. They claim Meta illegally transferred data from Europe to the U.S., opening European users to surveillance stateside. Meta says it'll appeal. There's a court hearing today related to the Nashville school shooting in March that killed 6 people, including 3 children. CBS's Jim Krasula.
A judge in Tennessee will hear arguments in lawsuits focused on whether the writings from the Nashville school shooter should be released. 3 lawsuits have been filed in the case, calling for the release of the writings, while parents from the Covenant School, as well as the church and school, also separately filed motions to stop it.
A civil rights organization says black people should be wary of venturing into one state. Here's CBS's Anne-Marie Green.
The NAACP issued a travel advisory for Florida. The group says the state is, quote, openly hostile to people of color and the LGBTQ plus community.
Top Ukrainian military leaders say the battle's not over after Russia claims its troops have taken control of the eastern city of Bakhmut. The governor of Russia's Belgorod region says a Ukrainian, quote, sabotage group has crossed the border into its territory, and the IAEA is warning the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant has lost power for the 7th time since the war began. If all goes as planned, 2 Saudi Arabian astronauts, including its first female astronaut, as well as a retired NASA member and a wealthy American investor, will dock at the International Space Station any moment now. CBS News space consultant Bill Harwood says they're in good hands.
Peggy Whitson is the most experienced American astronaut in history. She has 665 days in space and 10 spacewalks over 3 previous missions.
They all blasted off from Cape Canaveral yesterday in a multi-million-dollar chartered SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. This is CBS News.
Well, that's today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dash Cam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody.